Hugh?
Hugh.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Ra-kalam speaking. I've known you for over 30 years, and I recognize you without any doubt as a truly fully realized spiritual master. And I would like to hear you comment on the healing function as it relates through music and through outside of music, and what is the difference? How do you work with people in both fields in a way?
Well, music, as we know, generally is offered as a form of healing, but often it's actually a cultural mechanism that conducts and communicates culture between people from one to another. So we don't know that there's that much healing beyond that for most people, whether they're into one genre or another genre of music. So it's culture communication through the musical medium, which is a beautiful medium, so people are feeling good about the music, but we're not sure to what degree there's healing. That means transformationally speaking. So there is healing. We would say there's cosmetic healing, the healing of good feeling, the feeling of, let's say, a piece of music that sounds good and feels good, but then as soon as it's over, it's back to normal, back to the usual. So we can't say then, from this perspective, shamanistically or spiritually speaking, that there is transformational healing in any case. Right. So then music is used to heal people. That means reinforce their position in the time-space worlds, not alter their position in the time-space worlds. So reinforcing the position in time-space worlds is like paying tribute to the bondage that already exists. So there's no freeing up of the psychic forces. There's no freeing up of what we really need to be calling the areas that warrant the deepest kind of healing and transformational change of direction. See, so we're not talking about music as a change of direction in all cases, although on certain occasions you come upon a certain kind of music, and then that music is so strong or so deep or something powerful, that could change a person's direction to some degree. But not because of a healing, but it's a change of direction. So you have a change of direction through music, and sometimes you have some healing through music, but it's usually reinforcement rather than, let's say, awakenment.
Right.
And so this is relative then now to the individual state of evolution when they come, if and how they get to, let's say, here, or to the music if they come to a concert. Yeah. Because the important thing is to be practicing healing and conducting healing vibrations. That means the individual who's playing has to be involved in the healing conductivity or the transformational process relative to psychic to spiritual intelligence and energy, yogically speaking. So we're talking about something that actually transcends music but is communicated through the music, because music then is not a medium for the communication of itself as a form as much as then it becomes a medium of communication, which has been my criticism about music in general, from the individual state of mind through the music, regardless of what the idiom is, to the other person's state of mind. So it's a music to music relative to individuals, and then mind through the music to the individual's mind. So the people who are going out there hearing music or absorbing music are getting two things. You're getting some kind of communication at a musical level, but then you also, because of super psychic perception that's unconscious, taking on the karma of the individuals who you're listening to. So we're not sure that that's healing always.
Well, I was referring specifically to your music. And I will say from my own experience, I've listened to a lot of music that I've enjoyed a lot, but none of it has affected me or really changed me on a fundamental internal level like yours have. So how would you, what do you attribute? I think you already answered that.
Yes, the answer is really always the same: practice. Self-transcending practice, self-transcended practice, then communicates something across from the being to the being through the music, despite the form of the music. And though certain forms are going to be more in accord with or resonance with the individual state of mind or what their musical needs are. Some need sweet music, some need gentle forms of music. because of their state of mind, and then others need more forceful music, more powerful music, more fire music, let's say. See? More high pressure music, more intense music for them. And then they feel a quickening in themselves, and they come to a, let's say, focus because of that. The force is greater than or equal to what they need. And then the gentle music for a specific kind of healing, soothing, calming the vibration sound, offers that. What I try to do is, even in the midst of the most furious music we play, bring the calmness through that, which shows you the truth and the paradox of calmness relative to vibrations. So this, while it's we're in the fury of a certain kind of passage, right, a moment of great intensity, burn intensity, see, blazing fire intensity, the calmness is ever present. In other words, there's no self involved in it, so there's a magic right there. There's selfless music, heart first, and then music, regardless of the form, is subject to that, or maybe conditioned by that. Even if the music is suggesting or saying something else, the force of what it is. So we can play any kind of music, and the presence of practice will come across. So there's no emphasis here on the music being the reality, but the spirit being the reality through the music. And then music is basically, a true, let's say, medium for what it is that is most important, and that is a healing purpose. Because sometimes, let's say, major chords bring a little bit of healing, good feeling, but they're not going to bring you the kind of healing that is psychically true healing. Healed, already healed. Broken heart already healed. Broken heart healed. See, that kind of thing. Peace, peacefulness. So we need to establish our relationship to peace and our abidance in peace first, foremost, and then from there we'd say there's good music that follows that. Again, regardless of the form. It could be for blues plays, could be rock and roll. Coming from that place of centered stillness, even the rock and roll, harshest rock and roll will have a different quality to it.
Are there different forms the healing takes? For example, does the music affect the physical, or does it affect the psychic, or
What music?
your music?
Oh, it affects all of it, because all of the levels of consciousness are addressed here. The physical, the astral, emotional, the psychic, the causal, mental, the memory, the lower mental, the higher mental, the creative mental, and the spiritual mental. And the etheric are all included in the intelligence that is communicating what this music is. And we're saying that it's coming from the heart as first and foremost source of transmission and expression, if we can call it expression. See? Heart first. So compassion first, going out as a wave of compassion regardless of the form. So everything's coming from this kind of basis, foundation, practice, recognition, or realization.
Would you say the music has a direct effect on physical healing, or is it that it heals the being psychically, and from there?
Depends on the person, because different individuals come up at different points in the concert, during different concerts, in fact, with different revelations for themselves that come through the sound. In fact, when the Media Sanctuary was performed, that is that concert at the Media Sanctuary, the Heart is the Universe concert, there was a statement from my daughter, said something to the effect of one of her friends who's a doctor, who practices some kind of energy release process, self-liberation, had problems when he came in. He had he realized that he had blocks, and he was working on these blocks. And it was at a certain point in one of the pieces I was playing that all of it was released. So he ran out of the place and was in a highly emotional state, and had the release. And then told my daughter afterwards that he had this very significant release, Kriya, as it might be called, Kriya release of blockage. Psychic release. So it really depends on the person, because when the attitude an intention from my viewpoint as a practitioner is that all obstructions are released. This is already gone. It's already open, straight up. Then that message is out there talking to the spirits, talking to the chakras in the peeps, and saying this is already open when you're ready. If you're ready, open. See? And the sound reaches in, and it does what it can do for the peeps who are wanting it and using it to in fact liberate themselves from, let's say, lower chakra control or lower world oppression and so on and so forth. See? And so then it corresponds to, let's say, the will to awaken. And this is going out as such, as a form of, as an expression of, say, as the bliss of awakening already. Already awakened, already healed, already liberated. See, already free. Already gone. See, so it's there for all peeps, at whatever levels. Because all the levels relative to the practice here have been dealt with in terms of the general levels in the, say, the traditional chakra system. All of that has been dealt with, understood, put to good practice, and released. Gone beyond. And in other words, they're all honored here, they're all sacred here. The lower no more than the upper, higher chakras, and the higher no more than the lower chakras. All chakras are wood for the fire in this case. So everybody's karma is wood for the fire when we're playing. I welcome all of it. Use it. It's wood for the fire of what it is that needs to be done.
Have you encountered people who, let's say, rejected your music mentally or aesthetically, but nonetheless were healed by it in other ways?
We have confusion on occasion. Person didn't come for healing, but they feel great afterwards. And that's because the healing is occurring at a level, in some cases, that bypasses the egoic programming, self-consciousness and, let's say, biases and prejudices and limitations, self-image limitations for the person. They may not even know that they're bound to self-image programming, and then when they come to the concert and they feel something, they hear something, there's a link to the, let's say, deeper unconscious. But we're talking about the positive deeper unconscious, or what some would call the superconscious. See, that means the awakened consciousness. And they feel at peace with that, and they feel healed. And many people have come up and said this, that it was no jazz concert for them, it was no ordinary jazz concert. And so for them it was a breakthrough. And I said, well, this is what I'm doing with music. Anybody can do this, but you have to practice. You have to make it your life that healing is first, not just music. Because then it will come across that just music is important to you, and that's not going to work. Music's just for music, it's great for musicians. But for healers and spiritual practitioners, workers in this case, then it has to be healing first, heart first, and then you play your music from there and make sure you maintain the vibrations in the centered manner of speaking. Keep it in the stillness, work from there at all points, breathing the stillness or the hue, release and feeling and presence of liberation, so that there's this kind of communication of what it is for the peeps. Entertainment, inner attainment. That's what we're here to communicate, the reality of inner attainment. And that being just as important as entertainment and things up on the screen in movie houses and everywhere else but inside yourselves. The idea, of course, is where does it all come from? It comes from the inner rose. So we are inside out. That's how we are born, from the inside out. We're born in conception, through conception, right, and gestation, incubation, and then you come into birth. See, so it's from the inside out, blossoming this way, expansion. And so we have to understand that then the thought of, let's say, expansion as seed to the blossom, fulfillment or manifestation is the native and natural process of creation.
Are there cases where you direct or focus the music on specific individuals in the audience, or is it impersonally given to all?
Depends. Depends. If I know someone is ill or someone is asking for help or whatever, depending on their situation, they may come and say, well, we've been having these problems and we hope that in the company or the presence of the music, we have some insight. And of course I say, yeah, may your wish be fulfilled, no question. And we hope they are facilitated, see, with what they need, accommodated, given, see, what a message and a vibration for the healing. See, some light, in other words, light through the sound. Because you can have the sound all night long, but there's darkness. The sound is coexisting with darkness and light. We want the light to come through as well. So, despite the darkness, despite the variance in vibrations, despite the spectrum of vibrational realities, rates of vibration, we want the light to be coming through, most importantly. To pierce all of it, to pierce it. The sound force, the hot fire sound, piercing is sacramental in a manner of speaking. Sacred.
Are you feeling the audience as much as they're feeling you when you're playing?
We can say yes to that. Yeah. So I walk around and feel, not to control anyone, just to pick up on stuff that would show up as something I can use in the transmission. So I say wood for the fire. Yes, exactly. Yeah, wood for the healing fire. Right? The goodness, the graces, and the blessings, bringing the blessings into the situation so people feel that. Yeah. They feel it very strongly, the presence of what I'm doing. Yeah. So my prayer is deep. So it's deep prayer for the peeps.
At the same time, are there situations where, let's say, the psychic condition of the audience hinders your ability to...
There could be a lot of ignorance present. We have to take that ignorance as wood for the fire as well as anything else. It could be goodness present. It's all wood for the fire. At that level, there's no differentiation. It's just taking the energy, transforming it, making sure when it goes out, it's pure. It's a transformer, functioning as a transformer.
And
breathing it in and playing it out.
And so do you play, let's say, towards different planes of consciousness, towards the psychic or the ethereal or the physical?
Well, at this point, it's coming from the heart, so that includes all the planes of consciousness. In concept even. Say the heart means the center, the core, say being, so say love, so maybe it's a good word for it. That's why it's heart fire sound. See, heart radiance. See, heart radiant silence. So sound is in silence. See, fire is radiance. Grace. Fire is grace. Grace of fire, the fire of grace. See, the heart, the mysterious core of everything. That's nothing. See, the nothingness, everything. Essence. Transcendent essence, the pure beingness, these things. It's important to communicate that to the beings. See, that we are here living as beings, but we're potentially realized beings. We need to realize we can be realized beings. And in fact, it's better to be realized beings. You got to realize that. Sooner than later, please. We don't have too much time. See, we don't have too much time. We have a certain amount of time. That's why the urgency is in regards to nowness. See, timelessness. See, better work from timelessness, not just about time. See, we have no time. There is no time. God is no time. Timelessness. Beyond time. And this is where the music can come from. And I demonstrate that when I play. I have the power and the gift to demonstrate that. Happily, ecstatically. It's a joy, a profound joy. Inner peace comes with it. See, it's fulfillment. See, it's fulfilling the purpose of creation and existence and mastery. See, to be a channel then to communicate the heart's peace and beauty. See, at the same time, and cosmic intelligence. So we're talking about bringing the universal consciousness into the field as well through music, but nobody knows what's going on. See, that's like powerful stuff. So it's more of a total sound event. And with structure, which helps. See, the structure accommodates people's minds and their bodies to a certain degree. But as you see in the performances that I offer on occasion, we have structure that opens up into the infinite. It's gone. It disappears. See, what's present is what has always disappeared. See, that's the presence of the heart. That's mystery. Yeah. That's master. See. Spiritual master means so subtle you can't perceive it. See? You can't know it as such. See? You can't know it because it's at the core level. So you are it at the core level, but you can't know it if you're not living from the core level. See? So then we're talking about silence, we're talking about master silence, and I'm talking about sound and silence. That's what hot fire sound is. Yeah. Radiant silence, dynamic silence. I also call it no oneness, zero heart space. So when the sound reaches the level of zero heart space, there's no sound. See, that means it's total sound. See? Mind is transcendent. Comment.
Are there, let's say, obstacles that arise in response to your trying to put this music out there?
Well, it's called the universe. The universe is an obstacle. The universe resists it. Right? In a sense, I mean, I'm being playful. Yeah, it's the universe. The universe of matter. So appearances. See, there's a resistance. So naturally, we're matter, producing matter, creating matter, transforming matter, and using energy, becoming different, let's say, forms of energy. That is, energy being different forms of itself. See, we're coming from that, like the urge. Or the pregnancy, fullness. So we're talking about when you have the realization of fullness as native, not just an occasional, let's say, periodic event like a lunation cycle. Say, once a month, fullness, full moon. Now this is full moonness every second of your existence. See, it's like where the full moon comes from, see, and shows up as an appearance of, is here. The sun, the moon, the planets, the source of the universe is here, the core universe is here, native intelligence. So it's good to play from that. Then the music becomes more clear and then useful to everybody at a healing level because there's nobody involved in it. See, yeah. River flow. It's just water under the bridge. See, sound going into the universe, see, into itself. It's part of the meditation. Yeah. Meditation is that we are here to channel spirit or channel less. And of course, the less is great because the less is in progression towards channeling the spirit, the pure. So, all are included. Everyone is loved because of that. Yeah. Everyone is forgiven because of that. Everyone is given as a result. The grace of space, right? Heart space, zero heart space, to be abiding in the presence of all of this that's happening in this second. It's good to tune into it because it's part of our inheritance, part of our spiritual microcosmic true nature, the microcosmic intelligence. And that's what's coming through with playing this or something else.
So how or why does your, let's say, heartbroken quality in your playing translate to joy or ecstatic conditions in the listeners?
Because it's liberated. Yeah. It's heartbroken, broken open, not closed. Heartbroken closed is sadness. Heartbroken open is joyous, ecstatic, expression. And tearfully speaking too, the joy of happiness. See, that means full expression of feeling and emotion, not self-expression. It's selfless, heart expression of feeling as totality. Silence. Intensified through sound, still silence. Intensified into music, still silence. Don't be fooled. What you hear is silence. What you see is silence. What you feel, what you smell is silence. What you're breathing is silence even now. Even your baggage is all silence. Get with it. Free yourself from separation from what it is. It's good practice. Come in.
So, do the feelings that you generate in your music equate with, let's say, normal human emotions, or are they transcendent of that?
Well, it's human emotion, but more than human emotion. Remember, this is flesh, but it's got to be more than flesh. See, this is an ordinary body that is being used as conducting a certain kind of intelligence. So it's an ordinary body. The feces is ordinary, the urine is ordinary. But it's still, as ordinary, serving a sacred purpose. So even all the suffering and the baggage of my ancestry may on occasion come through, but coming through as light rather than darkness is then coming through as a burden. It's coming through as almost like a happy image of suffering. It's a paradox. It's no longer suffering that is obstructed and, let's say, sleeping. It's awakened suffering. It's no suffering. So it's a history with mystery is no history. Comment? Any other comments?
Are there, or let's say, were there earlier on conditions where you played where it was merely music, or did this?
This here is from birth, because at birth, not at birth, but after birth, shortly thereafter, before I became a certain kind of self-conscious being, I was experiencing these energies of the universe. I didn't know what they were. I thought that was a norm. I was experiencing things as a child, which is what I speak of in the bio. That when I would prop myself up on the bed and I have my legs dangling from the bed, and I would tilt over somewhat at a certain angle, I would leave the body, I would disappear, and what would happen? It's like something around or above my forehead or above the forehead would open up into a universe, like a light universe. And then I could pull myself out of it by coming back up, and I go back into it this way. I can't explain that. It's another dimension. So I had this, and then my conditioning helped me to ignore it, but then every now and then it would impose itself upon the reality. And in my music, I'm free in that dimension when I close my eyes. It takes a while. Sometimes I have to work with certain things, so it may take a few seconds, maybe a minute, maybe a piece, to get into a place where the piece is established as such. Depending if there are not too many disturbances and disruptions. It's easy to enter and work from that. Which is a meditative state, so some would call it a samadhi, focus, concentration, which it is in my case. And I'm almost not even breathing. Practically a non-breathing state, which is part of the communication, I think, part of the practice. Part of our entrancement nature as humans. So that's part of our native being. And not to forget these things. We're all the same as far as that, with the potential. We're all potential masters. It depends on how a person approaches that, and what that means to them, and what their standard is in terms of what excellence, perfection, and completion is about. And whether or not they feel that they're here to, say, master the body-mind well enough, completely enough, to really feel that they have a real spiritual mission on the table for themselves. So what you're putting forth is selfless, seeming like an individual and self-being, personal being, but it's the impersonal using everything that is given to you, every particle of your body-mind, as part of its communication, part of its presence. And this is what we practice, to enter into this abiding in the presence reality as a practice first, maybe theory first, practice, practical theory, theoretical practice, and then it becomes a much more walk process, walking it. Okay? And knowing that's what we can also be, besides being humans and neurotic and crazy and confused and upset all the time and frustrated and ambitious and I guess you might say divided, in conflict, which is healthy, it's part of our nature. But then there's another level. It's not like, there are another levels, there are many levels. We are made of light, so we can go back to light in terms of our intelligence relative to our atomic nature. We go back to space, because we're space beings in time bodies. Originally and quite agreeably, we're okay with that. We're born. I mean, we're born into a body, but we are not a body that we're born into. So you're born into a body to use the body, because we're really, by nature, true nature, light, and then that passes, and then you keep going. You're light, so you're returning to something, you're going back to the universe, in a manner of speaking. Even if you have a transitional world that you go through after you pass over, or when you're dreaming you enter transitional worlds. All of this is to inform you of your cosmic nature, once and for all, that you are a cosmic being. We have cosmic roots, cosmic extensions. We are the universe. The heart is the universe, basically. And we're aliens. We're our own alienation. We're afraid of taking a true look at. See, we're all forms. That's where formless. We're all beings. That's where no being. We're all worlds, so we are no world. We're all colors, so we're not color. We're clear. This is, as you might say, beginners metaphysics. Coming.
Are there people who shouldn't hear your music or are adversely affected by hearing it?
Well, we could say that not everybody's ready for everything. Not everybody's ready for the next thing that is on their path. And so that's the way of the world. Surprise and shock. Guess what? Hello. Time to go. That means being out of tune. Being out of tune with the karmic forces. Being out of tune with the spiritual options. And we have to bring ourselves into attunement, alignment with the spiritual options as well as with the karmic forces we have at our disposal, to include most primarily your ancestry. You want to use that. You don't want to be used by that unless it's good. Be used by the good karma. Make sure that then you take over to use all of your karma, good and bad, for a good purpose. See? And stay close to purpose, life purpose. In this case, we want to be heart beings as a purpose. See, sharing the beauty, the wonderment, the majesty and dignity of heart beingness. See? And what I call manifesting the presence of heartfulness.